Here's a question for you. How good are you at solving your own problems? If you'll think about it a minute, you'll realize that living well and successfully is really a matter of being able to solve or overcome the problems which are as much a part of living as breathing. But of one thing you can be sure. Few people realize that they have, within themselves, far more problem-solving potential than they ever use. Now, let's say you have a problem. Chances are you have several problems. The first thing to remember is that to solve a problem, it must be defined, and that we should only take one problem at a time. So take your biggest problem and define it. Sit down and on a sheet of paper, write as complete a description of the problem as you can. Just spelling it out has a way of diminishing it. We're most afraid of that which we can't see, and when we see our problem written out, it never looks quite as tough. The next step is to break down the problem into details, and don't confuse facts with opinions. Make sure you know what you're talking about and that the problem is as real as you think it is. Now list possible solutions. No matter how crazy they may appear, write down as many possible solutions as you can think of. Then talk the problem through with someone you respect and admire and whose opinion you value. If this does not result in the solving of the problem, begin collecting data about it as much as you possibly can. Study everything you can lay your hands on which pertains to this particular problem. And all the time, know that the problem has a solution and that you are perfectly capable of finding it. Then just before you go to sleep at night, read over all the material you've written out about the problem and go over in your mind the list you've made of the possible solutions. Then relax and let your mind go to work on it. Not your conscious mind, but your subconscious or unconscious mind. Set your alarm clock to wake you up an hour earlier than you usually get up. And get up, get yourself a cup of coffee if you want it, and sit down to a sheet of paper and try to come up with 20 ideas which might solve your problem. By doing this and turning the problem over and over again in your mind, and by letting it incubate while you're asleep and while you're going about your daily work, one fine day when you least expect it, while you're taking a shower or on the way to work or just sitting around the house, the solution will burst into your mind, or rather it will slip in, quietly and without fanfare, and you'll sit up startled that the problem is solved. You'll usually find that the solution is so common sense, so plain, so simple and perfect, you'll wonder why you didn't think of it before. But there is one secret to success in this sort of thing that is vitally important. Whenever you think of your problem, think of it as only waiting to be solved, and know that you will get the solution. Don't worry about the problem or be afraid of it. This will only keep you awake, hurt your digestion, and in general, run you down. Face your problem with faith and bend every effort to solve it. And solve it, you will. Then go on to the next one. And each time you solve a new problem, the solution to the next one will be just that much easier. Try this, and I think you'll be pleasantly surprised at the results. Each of us has a tendency to underestimate our own abilities. We should realize that we have deep within ourselves a reservoir of genius that can be tapped if we'll just dig deep enough. How many times during your life do you suppose you've heard the words, "they say"? How much of your life is shaped and guided by what they say? A great American by the name of Bruce Barton, a businessman, a public servant, wrote a short piece a long time ago titled, "They Say." Let me quote it to you. How many utterly drab and uninteresting people are there in the world who might have developed real personalities if they had only had courage to do and be something different from the crowd? Every single step forward in history has been taken over the bodies of empty-headed fools who giggled and snickered. If you have anything really valuable to contribute to the world, it will come through the expression of your own personality, that single spark of divinity that sets you off and makes you different from every other living creature. A noted English schoolmaster used to have as his motto, "Never explain, never retract, never apologize, get it done, and let 'em howl." Well, it's a motto not altogether to be commended. He who governs his life according to it will not be an agreeable companion or accomplish the largest service under a government where the will of the majority must finally prevail. But there is a rugged spirit of independence embedded in it that many men would do well to adopt. You can afford to have a decent regard for public opinion. But you can never afford to let yourself get into the pathetic condition where what they say, or may say, will keep you from doing what ought to be done. It's a hopeless condition to be in because what they say today is not what they said yesterday or will say tomorrow. That was written by Bruce Barton a long time ago, but it's even more true today than it's ever been. There has never been a time in our history when so many people have lived their lives in such timid obsequiousness to what they say. Remember Bruce Barton's comment, which went, "Every single forward step in history has been taken over the bodies of empty-headed fools who giggled and snickered," and the one that goes, "If you have anything to contribute to the world, it will come through the expression of your own personality, that single spark of divinity that sets you off and makes you different from every other living creature." You see, there are no two human beings on earth who are exactly alike. Well then, where do we get the phrase, the average man or the average woman? There is no such thing as an average human being. The reason it seems there are so many average human beings is because so many are acting as though they were average. Each one of us, being different, has something different and worthwhile to contribute. As Emerson wrote, "A man should learn to detect and watch that gleam of light which flashes across his mind from within, more than the luster of the firmament of bards and sages. Yet he dismisses without notice his thought, because it is his." Don't ever make that mistake. Your thoughts, your abilities can never be known unless you make them known. So the next time you hear someone say, "Well, they say," ask him who they are. If it would be possible to track them down, we would find them to be men like ourselves. Maybe we are they. It's worth watching out for. Do you know what the 4 things are that an education can give you? Well, they're 3 P's and an F. The 4 great objects of life and education can be listed as poise, power, peace, and freedom. Let me tell you the 10 marks of an educated person, and this doesn't necessarily mean a college degree. You can check them off as I run down the list and see how you qualify. Number 1, an open mind. This is the ability to toss even your most cherished beliefs into the trash can if you find they're not true. Number 2, the educated person will listen to all the information someone else can give him on a subject, and then draw his own conclusions. Number 3, the educated person never laughs at new ideas. He never says that something is impossible, ridiculous, or that it cannot be done. Number 4, the educated person cross-examines his daydreams. A lot of people have become great by realizing that some daydreams can become practical realities. 5, the educated person discovers his strongest point and then makes the most of it. Nothing succeeds like success, but mainly because a person has found his strong point and has learned how to play it. 6, learn the value of good habits and how to form them. 7, know when not to think, when to call in the expert to do your thinking for you. Dr. William Mayo once said, "It is not surgery that kills people, it's delayed surgery." Number 8, you can't sell the educated person magic. It's amazing and pitiable the great number of people who believe in luck, charms, special days, signs, Black Fridays, and other superstitions still around from the Dark Ages. The educated person throws superstition right out the window. Number 9, the educated person lives a forward-looking, outward-looking life. Psychology divides the world into 2 classes, introverts and extroverts. The inward-looking introvert loses health, efficiency, happiness, and so on, while the outward-looking person builds, constructs, organizes, achieves, and harnesses the energies of the world. Now, most of us are a combination of both introvert and extrovert, but it's important that we turn ourselves and our minds outward, not inward. Number 10, the educated person cultivates a love for the beautiful. Beauty can be a fine book, good music, nature, a painting, any one of a million things. The educated person sees beauty in just about everything. So those are the 10 marks of an educated person. Now, how did you do? The next time little Clyde or Hermione ask you why school is necessary, tell them about the 3 P's and the F that only an education can give you: poise, power, peace, and freedom. 4 things that every human being wants, but only those who have taken the time to obtain an education can have. And if you're already out of school and feel you kind of skidded by, an hour a day can give you the education you seek. Just 1 hour a day for the rest of your life. In getting a really good education, here's a terrific book to start on: The Outline of History by H.G. Wells. The history of the world, as exciting as a novel, all in one volume. Thank you.